Welcome back, webheads, to another episode of Video Game World Tours, a series where we slow down and soak in a game's environment. Today we're looking at Spider-Man 2. Wait, not that one. There we go. This is a game I'm sure a lot of us played back in the day, and I can guarantee almost all of that time was spent just swinging around, exploring the world. Why don't we relive those good old days? Let's get to swinging around. Hold on. You know what I've never done in this game? Walked around the streets. After all, why would you? You're Spider-Man. You're too good for the sidewalk. But let's assume we aren't, just for a bit. It feels surprisingly lively down here, considering this is a game from the 6th generation. A healthy amount of cars, pedestrians, and light poles to remind you that you are, in fact, on a city street. But you do kind of feel the age of the game. It has the bare minimum to convey that this is a street, but not much else past that. No benches, no fences, and come on, no trash. Most unrealistic depiction of New York ever. It can feel pretty samey walking through the streets down here. Not a lot of the buildings visually stand out, so it's really hard to judge where you are just based on your surroundings. But it's good that you can walk the streets at all. Remember the Spider-Man game based off the first movie? There was a kill plane right below the rooftops, so you never got to see the city streets firsthand. It helps immersion a lot that you're able to be on the streets, even if it is kinda boring. But you do occasionally stumble across a slightly interesting building. Not extremely interesting, not even moderately interesting, just slightly interesting. Honestly though, anything that isn't a rectangular building is a welcome sight. I don't know anything about Manhattan, so maybe a lot of these are based off of real-life buildings, or maybe they're just made up, no idea. This building is weird. There's an awning over the sidewalk, but it's entirely made of windows? It reminds me of those really tall buildings that have walkways at the very top, where the floor is made of glass, so you can see all the way down to the ground. Maybe this is a less exciting one of those. I remember always being drawn to the north side of the map as a kid. I don't know why. Maybe it's the feeling of openness as you aren't completely surrounded by the city. There's a lot of grass around here, as well as a tiny little basketball court, all by its lonesome. How sad. What about this super fancy building? It has a little bit of a grass patch around back. You'll occasionally find these throughout the city. I like the little bit of green they add to the gray landscape. It does feel weird that there's no boundary between the sidewalk and the grass though. What's this? A tiny little prison being watched from all sides. What a terrible fate for non-Spider-Men. I can just jump out. Close by is another building that stands out. Not necessarily because of the design itself, though it is unique. I'm drawn to this super flat area in front. Look at how much empty space there is from the front door all the way to the street. I feel like if this place were designed for a modern game, there'd be grass all over with a path cutting through it, a company logo towards the front, and a big old fountain to draw your eye. But here there's just nothing. I like it. It has that 6th generation feel. It's representative of the ambition of this game. Since they were recreating so much of Manhattan, they had to cut some corners here and there. That means you occasionally have building lots like this. But it's all in service of being good enough to sell the illusion that this truly is Manhattan. Here's another area in the same vein as that. Though this is a little bit more decorated. And hey, we have some actual fountains. Even just a tiny little thing like this, placed here and there, helps out a ton. Some hedges to separate the grass from the pavement. I like it, I like it. But it still kinda has that empty feel. This is a quaint little closed off area. While looking for cool buildings to talk about, I noticed Roosevelt Island. I initially didn't think too much of it, but I did a double take when I realized something. There's no bridge leading directly to the island. Like I said, I don't know a lot about New York City, but I know ferries exist, so people could get over here. Interestingly though, there's a lot of cars on the island. This was too bizarre, I had to look into it more. According to Wikipedia, the most reliable source online, there actually is a real-life bridge connecting the island to the mainland. For whatever reason though, it doesn't exist in-game. Why are all these cars here? I'm sure some were brought by boat, but how many of them will ever leave? Actually, can people even leave? No, there's no dock for boats or anything. There is literally no way to leave this island. I didn't know New York had its own Alcatraz. The city in this game is great. Swinging around and exploring is a blast. But what about the areas you can't swing around in? Let's take a look at some of the game's many interiors. The interiors always stuck out to me because swinging is so fun, but when you go inside, you don't have that freedom. You're effectively a civilian when it comes to how you move around. The Daily Bugle is the building you'll be in and out of the most. It's a bustling journalist microbiome in here. Plenty of desks and plenty of people hard at work. Speaking of work, what kind of work are they doing? I brought this up in my last tour on Starfield. I love to see fake computer operating systems in games. It's fun to see a texture artist's unique interpretation of the OSs we're so used to seeing. So what did they create for this game? Well, I guess texture sizes were small back then. Wait, they aren't even typing. They're just sitting, staring at their desktops, daydreaming about God knows what. I'll let them get back to it. What about these newspapers hanging up? Who is Spider-Man? Yeah, that's about right. Spider fraud, not the real deal, says SFX Guru. That's fun. Wait, I recognize that picture. That's Quentin Beck, also known as Mysterio, a villain you actually fight in this game. His whole gimmick is that he utilizes special effects to appear more intimidating. It's not really foreshadowing per se, more so just world building. Lovely little detail. And last but not least, holy cow. That's an engaging headline. I'd buy that newspaper. Heading outside the office, you're greeted with a delightfully modern hallway. It stretches out pretty far, but you can't go through any of these doors. I always wanted to as a kid. Just the concept of a door that you can't open was tantalizing to younger me. And of course, we have the bathroom, the way you enter and exit the building. Not much to say here, but I think it's funny that instead of having mirrors in the bathroom, which would be very taxing to render, there's just posters in their place. It feels like these are supposed to be mirrors, considering they're lined up directly with the sinks, but they aren't. Any of them interesting? Huh. Not really. Say, what do you think this is? All the other posters in here at least make some sense. This is telling people to hurry up in the bathroom. This is telling people to go to Jersey, I guess. But this is incomprehensible. Well, nearly. I can tell that's a person. And this green thing kinda looks like a face? That's about it. I wonder if this was taken from somewhere. Because all these feel like they were created for the game. You can tell what they're supposed to be. But what is this? Could it be a comic book cover maybe? If you recognize it, drop it in the comments. Heading back to the city streets, there's a ton of different random buildings to enter. Clothing stores, comic book stores, restaurants, bars, all kinds of random places. And I don't remember any of them. They're so inconsequential to the average playthrough, it's easy to forget them. But it does help with the world building. that you're allowed to go inside some of them and just be inside a store as Spider-Man. At some of those buildings, you can buy upgrades. And it's funny that not every upgrade shop is the same. There's a comic book store, but there's also a clothing store. Spider-Man going into a clothing store and buying the ability to do a flip in midair is so funny to me. There's a big chunk of buildings with hideout tokens in them. Just a random collectible to find in the world, but it gets you exploring these areas at ground level. I found this bar. It's pretty chill in here, but what weirdness is hiding within? These pool tables use the same model, but the middle one is flipped. That's mildly weird. And what's with this photo of a girl hanging up on the wall? Who is she? Even more bizarrely, there's two others. Two more photos of two more random women. This lady got a big picture. I wonder why she's so special. Honestly, I could make a whole video about these random little buildings you can enter. I love these tiny pockets of the world that I barely remember from when I played this back in the day. Something I distinctly remember though is the arcade. I don't know why I remembered it. It's not particularly special in here. Maybe the novelty of going to a video game place inside a video game just blew my mind. Boy, do we have some iconic games in here. Joystick, Nuke. Oh man, they even have the first game in the Killer franchise. And seriously? They have a poster for Movie Poster? I've been waiting for that for so long. This would be a cool place to spend a day, though it is kinda dirty. Towards the southern end of Manhattan, the Statue of Liberty lurks in the distance. Come on, that's just one of the places you need to go. It's so tantalizing. This is the Statue of Liberty we're talking about. But it's so far away, and Spider-Man can't swim. Fortunately, he can catch a ride. By webbing onto the helicopters that do laps around here, you can just dangle as you're slowly taken away. But by God, you better hold down that right trigger. Don't let go for nothing. Your life depends on it. To ratchet up the stress even more, you have to let go and attach to another helicopter to make it all the way. This is just like the boat ride to the secret stage in Super Mario Sunshine. Maybe a tad less stressful though. Eventually, your patience is rewarded as you're brought close enough to jump to Ellis Island. It's bizarre exploring this. It harkens back to the empty places we looked at earlier, but this feels even more empty. There are no people around. This actually feels like an out-of-bounds area. It's not. You can actually come here at one point during the story, but it has that vibe to it. Like, look at this. There's a little ramp and awning guiding you towards the building, but if you follow it, there's no door leading inside. It's just windows. There's doors off to the sides, but this feels like it should be the main entrance, right? It's just super uncanny over here. Even though there's some plots of land on Manhattan that have that feel, this is just, well, it speaks for itself. It feels like this area was a tiny bit neglected. Ugh, that's not fair to say. These buildings are beautiful. Look at that architecture. Maybe they're reused, I don't know. But even then, someone put this together. It just feels like an out-of-bounds area you're actually allowed to explore, which I consider a positive. I love out-of-bounds areas. Just walking down these paths, truly soaking in everything, it's comforting in a way. Wait, I got sidetracked there. We made the journey to see the Statue of Liberty. I don't know what I expected. This is the Statue of Liberty, alright. Again, this is an area that feels like it's missing just general clutter. Benches, fountains, oh, I don't know. Maybe stairs to reach the statue itself? There are doors that people can supposedly access on the pedestal, but I don't see any way up there without a ladder. Spider-Man doesn't need stairs though. Unfortunately, he doesn't know how to open a door, so he can't see the horrors within. Say, it smells kinda funny around here. You can climb to the top yourself, and wow, is that a view. You get to observe Manhattan, a low-poly version of Ellis Island, as well as all this water. Quite lovely. Alright, final stop of the tour, and we're scaling back in scope a bit. From the most majestic place in the game to the most humble, let's visit Peter's apartment. This is a place that's hard to find. There's no map marker that leads you here. If you forget where it is from the main story, good luck finding it. Here's where it is, by the way. Crawl up to this balcony and you can walk right in. I haven't seen the Spider-Man 2 movie in a long time, but this feels super accurate. I distinctly remember the dirty-ass walls, and they were lovingly recreated for this game. What is hiding in his apartment? Picture of Mary Jane, as you'd expect. Picture of real-life Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane? That's unexpected. Wait, is that her in character as Mary Jane? That doesn't look like Tobey Maguire or James Franco, and I don't know who else it'd be. This feels like a picture with someone she personally knows. I couldn't find the actual picture after some quick Googling, but it could be out there. What about his desk? Sometimes you plant seeds for trees you will never sit under. That's a nice quote. Ooh, a letter. What's it say? Well, that probably says Dear MJ. I don't have a clue for the rest of the letter. Was this in the movie? I can't remember. Can any of you guys make this out? And how about that? Pictures of what I can only assume to be the developers. I love finding these hidden in games. It tells me that they were proud to be associated with the game they worked on, so much so that they wanted their own image hidden away in it. This series is about honoring the work those developers did, the time and effort they put into creating such interesting environments. And boy, they did a great job with this game. Join the Pretzel Discord. I'm in there pretty much daily, and it's a blast. I promise, I wouldn't lie to you. Also, check out either of these videos. They're great. I swear I wouldn't lie to you. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.